Hey guys, um, it's getting pretty cold here. It's snowing today, about -12, so I probably should have done this sooner, but we're gonna go give you guys a quick little run through of our rainwater system and what I do to winterize it to protect it from freezing. So yeah, let's get into it. So like you can see, water comes down from the roof. This is just one side. I'll actually collect on both sides. But right now, as you can see right here, I have two sides. So this side will run to the rain barrels, and this side is my bypass where I'll hook up to in winter, which just comes down here and just empties here. That way no rain will get into the system itself. Come back here. I got 3 of these IBC totes. They are each 1,000 liters, so 3,000 liters of water we're able to collect, which has turned out pretty good. And I was able to get the entire system runs on a pump. So I've got a timer up there. It's actually a pond pump, or sprinkler pump is what they call it, and 2 valves. So 2 valves in the front yard, 2 valves in the backyard, and everything's underwater drip irrigation. So we're able to use rainwater to water our entire garden all summer. Most of the time, if we don't get rain, then we obviously have to manage that and keep an eye on our rain system. But yeah, it's worked out pretty well. So this main line going into each one of the totes is balanced along the way. As you can see, it's under here. Same thing on this one. And this just allows me to, it's a union. This allows me to shut off a valve if I need to do some kind of work to one of the totes. And here's our pump. And the same thing here. So the way this works is water will come off both sides of the house, meet here, come down, and it'll fill these rain barrels from the bottom up. And then with this line running to each rain barrel, it's kind of our balance line, and it'll fill these equally, no problem. So this is our overfill. So once the rain barrels are full, the water will not be able to go in these anymore. We'll come out here, and this heads right down to underneath the tree. If you don't put that suction, those lines up top here, if you don't put those in there and you just seal it with the cap and plug it, you'll get a crazy suction to where because when you're sucking, when you're pumping out and you're drawing water from the rain barrels, you're also sucking air, so you need to be able to replenish that air from some kind of vent line. So you can tie them all together, but this way works fine. But you want it sealed at the bottom. I'll show you. You don't want water to leak out of here. So I've got it glued here, sealed here, so no water will leak out of here, because then you just make a mess, because it is below the overfill. But at the top, so water will only really come to here, and anything else, excess pressure, will relieve there. So here's the pump I use. The way this works, I've got it all shut off now. Water, because this is our balance line, so we'll always have water in here. So I put a T, so water will go down here, inlet right here, and then when the pump turns on, it pumps out water from here And this pipe goes all the way to the front yard where we have 2 valves underneath, under the ground, 2 solenoids. And then this one goes to the back where we have 2 solenoids. So one thing to consider if you're going to be using a pump like this, you're going to need a pump start relay, because the valves I'm using, you can't just, if you open the valves up, you're just going to have a constant flow of water and you'll just drain your tanks. So the way this is set up is when there's a call for water, so when my timer calls for water, it is wired first to my pump start relay box, and then from there the relay will close, making contact, and send a signal to this pump, at the same time opening whatever valve it is that's meant to be open. So if you're going to get the pump, you need to get that pump start relay. So the way I set this up is from the timer, I just use wire like this. Comes along, and here's my pump start relay. And then this is my main power, so this is what I will feed power from my house into. And then when there's a call for water, the relay in this will close and it will send power to my pump. So I'm going to winterize this. So I want to take this inside. I don't want to leave it outside at all. That's why I put a union here and this quick coupling here. So I want to take this completely off. As you can see, I waited a little bit too long. Got cold fast here. So this is all frozen. I'm gonna have to try to melt that a little bit. We might get a little bit warmer temperature where it will melt, but yeah. One thing I didn't think of when I installed this is for me to remove this with the pump, either need to go inside here and remove the yeah, I'm gonna have to go and open this up and remove that. Okay, I just wanted to show you inside the pump relay here. Just wanted to show you your main power. So here's your main power coming in, your main power coming out, everything kind of connected here. I'm just going to right now just disconnect these nuts. So I got disconnected here, loosen this, and all you need to do now is just pull it out. And then I'll throw those morettes on here, and next summer all we need to do is hook this back up. So alright guys, so now I got the pump completely removed with the relay, and I can store this inside or properly drain it so I don't destroy the pump, because these are pretty expensive. So and I know I've already got water in it, so I'm going to bring this inside, put it in the bathtub overnight, and completely dry it. So I also set up this line, which is this line here. It's not controlled with the pump. It just comes over here. This will just give us pressure from the rain barrels, so we'll be able to just fill up our watering jugs if we need to, or really it's a lot of fun for the kids that we don't really care if they waste too much water. We try not to and teach them not to, but they can come over here and wash their hands, or we fill up the chicken coop with this water. So it's just a way for us to not need any electricity, but have some running water right here. So under here are two solenoid valves, which are controlled from the pump, or from the Orbit garden controller. So I'll just open these up and show you guys now. Filtered box, some pressure treated wood. Connect these, I put a union, and then we have our two valves, which I've got these disconnected now. We didn't get to the backyard this summer, that'll be next year, but yeah, I can pick when each one of these will turn on with the pump, and pump water to wherever I choose. So to winterize them, I think I'm just going to take this union off. This one here I'm just going to completely remove because there's nothing hooked up to it. But I want to get as much water out as possible. Yeah, see, there's a little bit in there, so so now I know that if there's no water coming out of here, then there's no water in here or anywhere along here. So, and if there is a little bit of water, it's not enough to freeze, expand, and damage this pipe. So yeah, throw this lid back on. So one thing I did, this summer I painted these black, and it's supposed to help with any algae accumulating in the rain barrels. It also keeps the water fairly warm for us to use with our hands or whatever we choose. But one thing I did, because I didn't want to paint the entire thing black, because I wanted to see how much water we had in the rain barrel. So when I painted it, I just put a strip, I don't know if you can see that, I put a strip of tape along here, and this is the rain barrel, so I will still be able to see the water level, even though the entire thing is painted. So if you're going to paint it, I highly recommend doing that first, so you can still see the level of water in your rain barrel. So this one I can't remove it because I've got all the wires hardwired, so we'll just unplug it and leave it. Another thing I like to do is remove the cap from my first flush system here. Make sure there's no water in there. So there should have been a ball that fell out of there. I'll ask the kids that. I'll just put it back on, nice and loose. And now I know. Now I'm confident that there's no water anywhere in the first flush system. Alright guys, so here's the side that's wired in. So again, this is the front of the house. This is where it comes. One's for the pump. This is just pressure from the rain from the storage containers, and this is from the pump. So come in here, and then I've got them all wired to these two valves. So I'll pull this off and try to drain as much water out of there as possible. And the way I set our yard up is this whole side of the yard is on one of those valves, and this whole side of the yard is on the other valve. And then each garden bed, I put one of as a riser, the shut-off valve. So if for whatever reason we're not using the garden bed, you know, we can shut it off. And then a lot of the beds I just put this little drip tape, but you know, you could put a sprinkler or whatever you really choose. So a little bit of water in there, not much though. One other thing I did was put this little drip leg here with a cap, so I can open this up and drain water that might be in here. So again, we got some, I waited way too long. It's frozen, so I'm just gonna leave this off and hope that it warms up enough to melt. But you know, I definitely don't want to have any pipes explode on me, because that's gonna suck. So lesson learned, don't do this mid-October. Do this in maybe mid-September. So we're usually done watering our stuff by then anyway, so mid-September next year. Lesson learned.